Hey now, good morning, happy Tuesday, PSW staff, clients, friends joining us. Try to say that as fast as I could, but yeah, good morning, welcome. Yesterday was good. We looked at Amadeus, your film scoring scene. So it's got to be a piece by Mozart, and it's got to be something that could be played in that room when he's conducting, when he comes running out from the room and starts conducting. So it can't be a Mozart opera. Maybe not a piano concerto because there's no piano in there, but I'll be lenient. Let's see what you give me. But that's good. And we're going to talk more about Amadeus tomorrow, kind of our advanced class tomorrow. Just about how artists think, how composers hear music, things to explore. There's so many great scenes in that. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Today's weird because I know this sounds weird. You saw Music Fundamentals. That sounds like this should have been the first class that I ever even taught here with you guys. But we just need a recap, and I just want to make sure. I was thinking and talking to colleagues and other people. I don't know how important it is for if you don't read music, for those of you who don't read music, how important it is to learn to read music. Because as we've seen, many of our idols, pop idols, even Paul McCartney, the Beatles, didn't read music. So it's not entirely important to read music, but what I want to show you today is just how music is written and what we're looking at, and show you some visual examples. Because if a chemist told me this is what we're looking at, I would like that. I don't know what atoms are. I don't know but I would like a general idea of this is what we're talking about. So I want to present to you like a paradigm, something that shows just what we're talking about. So you don't need to know how to read this, but I want you to see visually how these things are come about. So is that a deal? I don't want to teach you how to read music, but I do want you to see how music's written and put together. Because we hear music, but then if you stop and think, how does one communicate that? I mean, sometimes it's just a band playing a bass part and saying you play this too, but then after that, you give it to other musicians. You need to communicate that, and if you can't communicate that, you need to show them something. So what is that you show them? So we're gonna look at just fundamentals, very basic stuff. I remember one of the things we've talked about is the genre word, styles of music. I do a lot of classical music in these classes, a lot of jazz music. These are opera. These are all different genres. Pop. So we know that term. But for the most part, and this is the simple part, you can use any kind of genre and write it with these basic fundamentals of music. You need a staff. So whether it's a rap song that you like or a piece of opera by Mozart, it starts with the staff. Always 5 lines. Everything is on these 5 lines. How many notes? It sounds like millions of notes. We've heard millions of notes in all of our songs, and everything's just floating up there, but it's only 12 notes. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then back to C. That's all of music. So we have 12 notes on a staff. So this is how it's laid out, and that's what a scale is, right? Those, a chromatic scale going up. So you have the notes and the music. Now you got to put them. Now you have rhythm. So you need a clef, treble clef, and then bass clef. So mostly this is all written on just a piano staff, because with treble and bass, you can have your bass part, you can have your singers, you can have all of these things can be laid out on just 2 staffs, which is really nice. That's why they have 2 staffs, because bass is way low. Sopranos, all those things can be, flutes can be way high. And of course, there's way more advanced stuff, but we're trying to keep this simple. So with the rhythm, mostly 4/4 is what we're talking about. Time signatures, so that's 4 beats every measure. Most pop songs, I'm trying to kind of keep this, but even a lot of Mozart stuff, it's 4/4, very easy, common time. And they call that common time. That's why they write a C sometimes. But you need to fill out 4 beats in that measure. How do you do that? Well, you could have a whole note, which is 4 beats. That's just sustaining for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, right? Or you could have a quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next measure, right? You could have eighth notes. Da, 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 da. So that's eight. So do you see how these are? They're kind of. This is why math is sometimes involved. You could have 16th notes. Decca, 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 decca. So what I'm singing right now, that's all just one measure. And then of course, well, like much music, it's many kinds of music. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be a whole note, and then it could be a half note, which is 2, and 2, eighth notes. You vary it up within a measure. It's not like you have to continue that with that measure. Rests are also really important too. Rest is what it sounds like. You don't do anything for that one beat or that one bar. Or if you're in an orchestra and you're the timpani player, you rest for 50 bars and then you come in on that last bar. So you have to count those rests in your head. That's a big responsibility. So rest is also when you don't play. Tempo. How fast are we talking about? Chords. We're breaking this so down. You see how easy music can be. Chords we talk about, and we have those little Roman numerals. So I did a lot of that with our Sousa class. The 1 chord, the 5 chord. Why do we have Roman numerals? I mean, what's that about? That goes back to about the 18th century. So, and that's because people needed a way to write music, to figure out chord progressions, and where the bass is. The bass is always the most important. We've talked about inversions before, where if it's a C chord and C is in the bass, that's not an inversion. If it's a C chord and E is in the bass, that's first inversion. So it's a respelling of it because you get a different sound, a different color. That's why you do it. Something I need to do more in my music. I don't do inversions, but don't tell people that. I don't know if I don't. It's something I have to talk about with my therapist, but I need to do more inversions. So we've talked. So those Roman numerals. So a 1 means it's the root. It's the 1 chord. That's why that 1 is there. So hey, let's do Let It Be in the key of C. C is the 1 chord, and on that first bar, you're going to write just a little Roman numeral. For this class, we're just going to do the 1, 4, and 5 chord because that's most of pop music, of blues music, even of Mozart stuff. I mean, you can really simplify hide in a lot of stuff to 1, 4, 5. The 1 chord, the 4 chord, which would be the F if you're in the key of C, the 5 chord, which is G. Where does the 5 chord? 5 always gets us back to home. We have to get back home. We're lost out there, and it always resolves to that 5 to the 1, to home. I know when I slow it down like this, it doesn't sound like anything. Why don't we hear a few examples of just popular music where, and I'll put it on the screen when the 5 is going to go to the 1.
Can't you see I'm calling? A guy like you should bear a warning. It's dangerous. I'm falling.
See how our ear automatically needs to go? I mean, of course not all music does this. There's deceptive cadences and all that stuff, but we're not talking about that today. This is how music is written down. And even if you don't read music, if you're in a band, you can just say the 1 chord. Okay, now we're going to the 5 chord. Of course, if you're in different keys, they all have to transpose together. But let's just keep this all in the key of C, because like Schoenberg and Prokofiev said, there's some great music that can still be written in the key of C. So we'll just keep it in this key of C. And we're going to see some of this in the Amadeus class tomorrow, because he's going to be telling Salieri what the chord is and what the tonic is and what the dominant is. So that's also why I kind of want to review today. We know what melody is. Melody is something that you whistle, that you remember. We know harmony. Harmony is just, it has to be more than one note. Counterpoint has to be more than one line going on, 2 or more lines going on. And then orchestration. How do you color it? How do you orchestrate something for, like that Rimsky-Korsakov did with the orchestra, or something that you could orchestrate something for your band members? Who's going to play what part? And is the bass going to play the melody? That's kind of interesting. That's different. Usually the bass just plays the chord progressions in the back, but the bass could play the melody. There could be no drums. There could be bongos now. So that's how you orchestrate in the studio, or orchestrate with when you're playing together. That's orchestration, whether it's for 50 musicians or 3 musicians. So orchestration, these are the elements of music. This is how it all comes together. Please, 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 if you have any questions about any of this, I didn't mean to rush through it. I just wanted to simplify it, just to give you a refresher about this is what music looks like. And like I said, this isn't just classical music, and this is not just Mozart because we're talking about Mozart this week. This is all of music, whether it's the Beach Boys, the Ronettes, all of music can be put on these 2 staves. And so so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm really trying to make it as easy. So please, if you have any questions, call me or comment below, because we can go into this. But I really want to keep this simple, and not necessarily where you have to read the music. Reading music is good. I'm not discouraging that, but not necessary for these classes. Just want to visually show you how this looks like on paper. So I hope that was not confusing and somewhat informative. I know some of you that do read music are like, are you kidding me with this? So, don't worry about it. Tomorrow we're going to look more at Amadeus and some scenes from that. And, I don't know. I'm exhausted. Okay, nap time. I hope you enjoyed this. See you tomorrow. Bye.